You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
The purely political argument of, do we think that this is going to increase or decrease response rates, and what is that going to do for one party or the other, one state or the other, in terms of how that affects future dollars?
The Trump administration wants to change the census, but will this result in an inaccurate count and add or cut federal funds to Florida? How can this affect our tax dollars? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on the possible census changes in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight with concerns about safety at a new elementary school in Parrish. During a Manatee County Commissioners meeting today, both parents and the board asked about the layout at the North Elementary County School. The 20 acres is located on Moccasin Wallow Road and 115th Avenue East. The board says it would like the Manatee County School District to work closely with the Sheriff's Department to ensure that the campus is safe.
It's about as safe as we can make it. And there will be gates on site. But that's more for traffic control than anything else. We don't want to make this look like a prison. That's what I was referring to earlier. I don't want to build a solid wall along Moccasin Wallow Road.
The district says there is a great need for a new school here, mainly because there are 9,200 approved units within a 2-mile radius. The search continues tonight for a bank robber in Sarasota. Deputies first responded to the Wells Fargo branch on Bee Ridge Road around 10:30 this morning. Bank employees say the robber passed a note to a teller demanding cash. He then ran off towards Doctor's Hospital. Witnesses say he is white, about 5'8", with dirty brown hair and a tattoo of a teardrop under his left eye. A savage strain of E. coli on romaine lettuce has killed 1 person in an outbreak affecting 25 states and more than 120 people. However, there are no current cases here in Florida. Health officials have tied the E. coli outbreak to romaine lettuce grown in Yuma, Arizona, which provides romaine around the country during the winter and limited areas during the spring. So the lettuce on your grocery shelves is not likely from Yuma, but the Centers for Disease Control recommends throwing away any romaine lettuce of unknown origin.
What's true is that E. coli has mutated as a result of animals eating genetically modified foods. And so we're seeing a variety of E. coli that is not natural to the human body. We have E. coli in our gut. You do, I do, everybody does. But we have a mutated form of E. coli that then becomes a threat to our health as food poisoning.
Only romaine was affected, so if you want to take extra precaution, just switch to another type of lettuce for the time being. Pine Brook Road in Venice is back open to traffic after a water main break shut down earlier this week. The pipe broke while contractors were doing routine work. The boil water advisory for the area is also being lifted. A massive revitalization project is underway along Seaboard Avenue in Venice. While the city says no businesses will be forced to relocate, many owners are not so convinced. The city says it's working to create tax incentives to help businesses either move or remodel their buildings to change their look.
There's tremendous potential in this area for make a lot more out of it and give all the residents of Venice and surrounding areas an opportunity to come here and really enjoy more of it.
The city is now looking to the Economic Advisory Board to come up with ways to implement the tax incentive. More than 100 faith leaders from across Florida gathering at the state capitol today to take part in the 67th annual National Day of Prayer. The non-denominational gathering in Tallahassee was one of more than a dozen across the state celebrating religious freedom in America. Prayers were said for those dealing with the struggles of life.
Florida is so important to the nation, and gathering here at our state capitol matters because it's the very heart of government, and we have religious freedom to say the name of Jesus loudly at our government.
The National Day of Prayer was established by Congress in 1952 as a way for people of all faiths to show that they are free to gather and pray in public places. At-home DNA testing kits are one of the hottest things on the market right now, with the number of kits brought online more than doubling last year. It was a life changer for the director of this very broadcast, who was adopted at an early age and used DNA to find his family. Tracking down the name took 5 months, but meeting for the first time took a lifetime, and we were there.
I was going to say, I thought that was you guys. Hey. First words out of her mouth were, "I remember you," which, wow.
And DNA kind of cuts through all of that ambiguity and connects you to people that you are related to on a DNA level.
You can watch the full story and read about it at mysuncoast.com. And now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan. Bob, that was really heartwarming.
Yeah, great story there. And Chris doing a great job right now directing the show here. We have high pressure that is slipping away, a low pressure moving in right now. And you can see that large area of clouds located east of the central Bahamas. That's all shifting in our direction, and it's going to have an impact on our weekend weather. And you can see a little bit of rainfall now over South Florida near the Keys and also just south of Miami. Here's a look at the forecast run. If we take you through time here, again, you can see that rotation and circulation. This is a closed low at one point, and then it kind of skirts up just to the south and west of Fort Myers on Saturday evening. You'll notice that this particular model does not depict as much rainfall as we saw earlier with it. But nonetheless, it will bring that wind out of the southeast and rotate some tropical moisture just in time for some showers and storms in the afternoon with the heating of the day on Saturday afternoon. We could use the rainfall. We've been talking about this. We had a fire down in Punta Gorda earlier today, and extreme conditions there into Charlotte County as far as the current fire index goes. It will be in the very high category tomorrow. We are in the high category, very high in Manatee County right now, Hardee and DeSoto, although in moderate, they'll be in the high category for tomorrow as far as that fire danger goes. Currently, it's 86, sunny, beautiful, humidity, winds out of the east-northeast at 9, the pressure 30-12, and that has been holding right around there for the past couple of days now as that high pressure has been firmly in control of our weather, but it will shift out of here just in time for the weekend, and Alan's lawn is loving it.
But for the first time today, my son in the New York area is saying it's warmer there than it is here.
Unusual, 90-degree temperatures, and tomorrow it's going to stay there just out ahead of the front that's heading their direction.
Yeah, finally baseball weather.
That's right.
Thanks, Bob. Still to come, the Trump administration wants to make changes to the census, adding the question whether or not you are a U.S. citizen. Why some are afraid to answer that question. We'll dive into the topic next.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
Hello, Mom.
Amanda's mom's appointment just got rescheduled for today. Amanda needs right at home. Our customized care plan provides as much or as little help as her mom requires, whether it's a ride to the doctor or help around the house.
Oh, of course. Tom, I am really sorry. I've got to go.
Look, call right at home. Get the right care right at home.
I can't believe they charged me this much. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Go to CashNetUSA.com now. If approved, you may get the money you need as soon as tomorrow.
Thanks. Who are you?
I'm CashNetUSA.com. Man.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves him green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Imagine a world filled with pillow fights, playgrounds, and the search for the perfect climbing tree. Every kid deserves that world, but 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger. At No Kid Hungry, we're committed to creating a world where every kid eats healthy food every day. We raise funds, we help families, and we lift up communities.
Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC7, weekdays starting at 5.
Sometimes it seems everything is becoming politicized. Now it's the census. The Trump administration now wants to ask if you are a U.S. citizen. Here is what is at stake. We base how many congressmen Florida has and how much federal funding we get based on population. ABC7's Taylor Torrigano with more on what happens if people are afraid to answer the question honestly. Taylor.
Good evening, Alan. In the weeks leading up to this decision, there's been mixed feelings, even lawsuits about the controversial topic. Tonight in Sarasota County, we're asking, what does this citizenship question mean for federal funding and for the immigrants in our country?
When I got here, my English was not fantastic.
Born in Holland, Robert Van Lingen immigrated to the United States 30 years ago.
And I read the American papers to the point where when I immigrated at the age of 19, I knew more about American politics and so forth than a great many Americans. Because I've been reading that every week and memorizing names of senators and so on and so on.
His long process to become a U.S. citizen, well worth it. But even during his first 7 years with the green card, Van Lingen says he wouldn't have been afraid to indicate he was not a citizen if asked on a census.
The country, the government has a right to know who is in here, who is a citizen, and who is not. That's simple.
Sally Mackett was born and raised in America and says she's against the citizenship question.
It's a bad idea because people may be afraid to answer that question about whether or not they are a citizen in the census. So they won't fill out the census. So we will not know. And therefore, federal funding won't be allocated appropriately across states and communities because they won't have an accurate count.
Good morning, U.S. Census Bureau.
An argument the Department of Commerce says it considered, but then decided to add the question of citizenship anyways. In this statement, saying Secretary Ross's decision follows a request by the Department of Justice to help enforce the Voting Rights Act. It relies on accurate estimates of voting eligible populations. And in response to the fear that it will deter immigrants from responding altogether, a Commerce spokesperson says Secretary Ross found that, quote, the need for accurate citizenship data and the limited burden that the reinstatement of the citizenship question would impose outweigh the fears about a potentially lower response rate.
There are compelling arguments on both sides. And that's much of how you see this issue comes down to whether you're on the red team or the blue team. We have definitely used questions like this in the past without too much issue. But on the other hand, the Census Bureau did some focus groups in the past couple years where they've tried out citizenship questions, and they have found that, especially among Hispanic people in the focus groups, in the test surveys, they become very hesitant to answer because of the political climate.
A lot of people will actually be frightened of that question.
Jeremy Piedrahita says, in his opinion, this is just another effort to deport illegal immigrants.
The question is definitely a first step of eliminating immigrants. And I've had conversations with multiple people about the situation of Trump doing the wall, trying to eliminate immigration, and the same conclusion came up. He's just trying to get a head count.
A fear that with these surveys, the Trump administration will round up those who mark no. But political science professor Firstman tells us this simply will not happen.
Because of previous cases where we have used census data for things like that, there are exceedingly strong protections in place that census information is not allowed to be shared outside of the Census Bureau.
Still, many say they aren't convinced, and an inaccurate count affects each region's number of representatives, voting, research money, and federal dollars.
Funding formulas are tied to the census, and if you have certain demographic groups, if you have certain regional areas, certain cities and states that disproportionately don't respond to the census, then they will lose out on funding.
That's billions of dollars in critical federal funds, according to New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, who filed a lawsuit in early April with 19 other states and 6 cities in an effort to block this citizenship question. But the Department of Commerce tells us these cases are without merit, and they look forward to prevailing in court. The United States Department of Commerce says the request to reinstate this citizenship question initiated a comprehensive review process to ensure all facts and data relevant were considered. I've put a link to their 8-page report on our website. Just visit mysuncoast.com.
Taylor, thank you. Coming up in a moment, the accuracy of politics and the politics of accuracy at the Trapezoid.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Everything all right?
Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery? Sure. We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
My life motto is keep moving. And as hard as it was when my husband passed away, I knew I had to keep doing what I love. Oops, coming. But I needed help with my insurance, and that's what the NAIC provides. They have resources to help you and your family make the best decision, and they'll help you to keep moving forward, just like me.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
You pick. What's more important, an accurate count of the number of people living in Florida or knowing how many people live here legally? The Trump administration is adding a question to the upcoming census. Are you a U.S. citizen? Fair enough. But critics claim undocumented aliens might fear ICE would be notified if they answer no. The stakes are high. States are allotted members of Congress based on population. The more members of Congress you have, the more influence you have. And a lot of federal funding is also based on population. Joining us for more are Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, former State Representative Keith Fitzgerald, and Danny Furstman. Did I pronounce that right?
Absolutely.
Okay. A political science professor at State College. Gentlemen, welcome to you all. There are a number of issues here, and let's take them one at a time. Most importantly for all Florida residents, I would imagine, is that the more members of Congress we have, the more influence we have in Congress, and if anything gets in the way of counting the number of bodies in Florida, that would be problematic. Rod, your opinion?
I don't see how they're mutually exclusive, to be honest with you, because the question about citizenship is not about whether you're here legally or not. It's a question of whether you're a citizen or not. There's lots of people that are here legally that aren't citizens.
Right, but let's say you fear, if you're not here legally, and therefore you may be fearful of filling it out, mm-hmm. You're not, and there goes one more person.
Well, and that's possible. However, we've had it it's been a question that's been part of the census all along, either in the long form or the short form, with I think 2 exceptions since 1790, and then Barack Obama eliminated it in 2009. That was the first time in the actual 10-year census that it was totally eliminated, since other than 1 or 2 other times in our entire history. So I don't even remember, Alan, it being a deal at the time. I don't remember a whole bunch of red state attorney generals suing over that. I don't remember a big flap over it. I don't remember anything. He just eliminated the question. I don't think Americans have a problem with knowing who's in our country. Why do we not want to know that? Why do we not want to know the status? This is, if you're looking for just a base number of data, why would you not want to know that?
Keith, do you believe that the motivation of the Trump administration is really accuracy here, or in some way to depress the count in certain states which may not be friendly?
It's a really easy question. The Census Bureau, which is a pretty impressive bureaucracy, has many really accurate tools to assess the number of people who are in the country who are not citizens. They do community surveys nationwide. It gives them a very accurate count. They know how many people are here not legally, how many people are here legally. They already have that data. So this has nothing to do with gathering information about how many people are here from other countries. It's about reducing the representation of areas that have high concentrations of non-citizens.
But let me ask you quickly, but Florida, this is a state that voted for Trump in the 2016 election, so why would you want to do anything to damage Florida per se?
And Texas too. Well, it's not specifically trying to damage any particular state. It's trying to reduce the amount of representation for urban areas where there are high concentrations. So, if you look at how gerrymandering actually works, you pack people and then you crack people. This is a way of making sure that those people who are packed have less representation than they would otherwise.
But Danny, as you pointed out, the question itself has come and gone in past census.
Yeah, the issue isn't necessarily the question specifically, it's the broader environment that it's feeding into. So whether the question's on there or not, just the fact that this is a big news story now is going to create a lot of headaches for the Census Bureau trying to get respondents in Hispanic communities to take the survey. They're thinking, whether that question's on there at the end or not, it's the issue of, am I interacting with the government? Do I trust the government? Whether I'm a citizen or not, do I trust the government with my sensitive information?
Okay, we are just getting warmed up, and we'll have much more on changes to the census right after we check the first weather. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Want to know a secret? If you're looking for the best selection of area rugs at an unbelievable price, the only place you need to look is Rugs' Art. I know what you're thinking. Expensive, right? Wrong. Rugs' Art has the largest selection of area rugs on the west coast of Florida in a variety of styles, with 8x11 area rugs starting at $199. Largest selection, personalized service, and unbelievably low prices. You'll find it all at Rugs' Art.
Rugs as Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
Experience the Classical Music Celebration May 11th and 12th at the historic Sarasota Opera House. World-class musicians include guitar duo Charisma, currently touring with Andrea Bocelli. Tickets available online or by phone.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
I can't believe they charged me this much. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Go to CashNetUSA.com now. If approved, you may get the money you need as soon as tomorrow.
Thanks. Who are you?
I'm CashNetUSA.com. Man.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, bro. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. So wet.
Our conversation on the changes to the census continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. We're watching the nice, calm conditions out there in the waters right here. KC Key webcam
showing beautiful beach weather. It's been going on for the last several days now, actually since the weekend. It's been really nice there. Temperatures into the mid-80s as opposed to the 90-degree reading we had today at the Sarasota Bradenton Airport. Our fire danger remains very high. In fact, it was extreme at one point for Charlotte County. And we did have a fire there. A brush fire broke out near Punta Gorda. And it's very high, and that's going to be similar tomorrow. So these conditions will actually get a little worse in Hardee and DeSoto County. They'll bounce from moderate up to a high category like Sarasota is for Friday. Well, there's some relief on the way. A low pressure area in the tropics is headed our way. Increased moisture. You can see all this cloudiness right here. Luckily, there's enough shear around that it's not going to develop into anything too significant, but we will see significant changes over the weekend with additional moisture in place. Enough sunshine in the afternoon or the morning in the early afternoon on Saturday to generate showers and, unfortunately, a few thunderstorms. And that means the possibility of brush fires being ignited as a result of the lightning generated by those storms. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. So near 90 again on Friday, and then rain chances increasing for both Saturday and Sunday. And it looks like those rain chances will be lowering Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but they'll still be around because this frontal boundary will get down close to us and create just enough instability in the atmosphere to bring us a few showers in the early part of the work week. Right now, no rain around as a result of this dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, but this tropical wave is basically moving in our direction and will clear that dry air out, and it will be replaced by some higher humidity values. You'll notice that too. Especially on Saturday as we see the humidity go up. Right now, some showers down to our south. They're going to stay there too. We're not anticipating any rainfall here on Friday. It will stay dry, but the rain chances I mentioned going up to about 50% for scattered storms in the afternoon and evening on Saturday and continuing on into Sunday. 86 right now, but look at that number. That's nice. 37%. It has been pleasant over the past 5 days for that matter. And high today was warm, 91 degrees. Our normal high at 84, 95 the record. And nationally, big storms will be firing up again along this frontal boundary as this low pressure tracks off to the east. It was warm today, as Alan mentioned, in New York and also into the nation's capital. Temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s there. Well, here comes the future cast showing this large plume of moisture heading right toward us. And it'll be in place on Saturday, and then Sunday that front comes down and looks like mixes up with that low and brings us another round of showers and a few storms possible on Sunday. East winds turn to the north at 5 to 10 knots tomorrow. Seas running right around 2 feet with a moderate chop on the bays and inland waters. The forecast for the next 7 days calls for temperatures to be into the mid-80s once we get through Friday, where we will see some highs near 90 degrees and those rain chances bouncing up, especially Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and into Sunday. I don't think we'll see a washout, but we will see some scattered showers and storms around. Alan will be back with his guest right after this.
To be able to just get my son here and not think about how we will pay for it, it just takes so much weight off of my family. St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard live up to a set of time-honored principles.
I will always place the mission first.
They stand ready to respond to any crisis.
I will never accept defeat.
They serve in their communities as citizens and as soldiers.
I will never quit.
They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Learn more at nationalguard.com.
Looking for something fun to do on a Friday night? Then come to Music on Main, the first Friday of every month at Lakewood Ranch. Enjoy free live music, dancing, great food, and lots of fun for every family member, even the furry ones. Meet up with friends, enjoy activities for the kids, or make it a special date night. And be sure to stop by the ABC7 booth and say hello. Mark your calendars for Music on Main. first Friday of the month, 6 to 9 at Lakewood Ranch. Brought to you by ABC7 and these sponsors.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration. Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
Welcome back. So should the census ask you whether you are a U.S. citizen? Joining us for more are Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, former State Representative Keith Fitzgerald, and Danny Fustman. Did they say that? Fustman.
You had it the first time.
All right.
Making it too hard on yourself.
Sorry about that. A political science professor at State College. Rod, here's the question. As you saw in Taylor's story, you saw a bunch of landscapers talking, and that some of them do feel that if they filled out the census form, it would be a direct line of communication to ICE. When you hear that, what's your reaction?
Well, it makes sense that they would think that because of a couple of things. The big deal Democrats and liberals are making out of it, the large play the media have made out of it, but the fact is that they've been asked that question all along until just the very last census. If Obama had not taken it out of the last census, we would have no story at all right now. It would be the exact same as it was before. This would just be the status quo it always has been, and they either would or wouldn't have that concern, but none of it would be playing out like it is now.
Keith, fair enough?
No, I don't think that's accurate at all. First of all, you have to think about what Trump's policy is with ICE, and they've been very open about it. They're trying to make everyone uncomfortable and fearful that they may be next. They're not focusing anymore on people who are wrongdoers. They're focusing on everyone. And it's part of a policy to try to help people make a decision to leave. Obviously, they're going to be very fearful about participating in this. It's not a media thing. It's a direct, intentional outcome of the Trump policy. I do trust the people in the census. They have a great deal of integrity, and they have really good firewalls. This data is not going over to ICE. But I think the whole point of the ICE policy that President Trump has enacted is to make people uncomfortable and fearful about government.
Danny, we started at the outset talking about how population is related to how many members of Congress that you have, but there's a lot of other things that are riding on it, including areas of federal assistance distributed using Census Bureau data include Medical Assistance Program, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is SNAP, temporary assistance for needy families, Section 8 housing. In all, 132 programs that distribute $675 billion. So again, we raise the question, is there politics to asking that question?
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly a political issue on both sides. If you look at the lawsuit that's taking place right now in Colorado, you have a Democratic governor who's suing, but the Republican Attorney General won't take part in it, so they're not using the Attorney General's office to be part of the lawsuit. When you see something like that, you're going to be pretty sure that this is political on both sides. It comes down to how we can get our money and where we're going to get it from and who can get the most.
And as you saw in Taylor's story also, the New York Attorney General is taking part in that lawsuit, but our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, is not. A lot of people, Keith, would say, look, if you have nothing to fear, then why not answer the question? I mean, don't we as Americans have a right to know whether you are here legally or not?
Well, as I said before, the United States government has, and the Census Bureau, has very good instruments to estimate the number of people who are in the country not legally. And ICE has the power to investigate anybody if there's some evidence that they're not here. So this really has nothing to do about enumerating the number of people here who are not citizens. We already have ways of knowing that are extremely accurate.
But Rod, a lot of people, what Keith says may be absolutely true, but they're also going to see anybody who is knocking on the door coming from the federal government. They're going to suspect that this information is going to go right back to ICE.
Right, well, they may suspect that. I don't think that would happen, although I used to have more trust in the FBI, too. I have less so now. So maybe
that's another show.
It is. But going back to what you were talking about the $675 billion in essentially welfare programs. And I think this is one of the reasons why an awful lot of hardworking Americans who pay their taxes look at this and say, darn right we want to know who's here legally and who's here not legally. This doesn't even ask that. This asks citizenship questions. You know, it's correct that it's federal law that all represent, the members of Congress represent all the residents, and so they need to be counted. But the idea is that shows that that's a lot of money going from tax-paying Americans to people who might be here illegally. Well, don't we have a right to know that as Americans?
Because a lot of people watching this might be thinking, because of what I read there, that it is illegal immigrants who are receiving food assistance and welfare and so forth. But that's not the case because they're not eligible for it.
They're not eligible.
Well, they're not. Well, okay, that's actually disputable because because all they need is a Social Security number, and those are obtained illegally all the time.
That's not true. They have to prove that they are legally residents of the country. A Social Security number is not sufficient. They have to have the same kind of ID we need when we renew our driver's license. That's why we have that Real ID program in the driver's license. This is supposed to be secure enough to know that people cannot get it without proving their citizenship. And that's the kind of ID you need to be eligible to those programs.
I would suggest
this is no, it's just not about those people getting welfare. What it's about is the representation of the population, which is what the Constitution calls for. And this is an effort to reduce the representation of certain areas, even though it's larger, by making it difficult to count the people who live there, so that some people will be overrepresented. I mean, sometimes, Rod, you forget that all of us are Americans. It's not just...
No, American citizens are Americans.
All citizens...
No, just because somebody came in here illegally doesn't make them Americans.
We're not talking about illegal people. We're talking about American citizens who live in cities who should have more representation according to the rules that are set out in the Constitution.
Which is why we need to know if they're citizens or not when they come here. That's exactly why we need to know. And what you just described, Keith, is exactly what a lot of people like me are saying is what we need for voting. Just basic ID and representation for voting. And we're told that that's going to suppress certain types of votes. And I'm saying this sort of ID makes a lot of sense to me. I would also say in California, illegals now do get driver's licenses. They are in line to be able to vote. I see no reason why they will not qualify for welfare benefits in California.
Danny, what's the state of play here? You have a number of states, not all of them finally joining this lawsuit here. Can the administration just add this question without any kind of approval from either the Congress or the courts?
I mean, generally speaking, the census submits the questions that they're going to use to Congress a few years in advance. This particular case is very unusual to have a question added this late, although it is a question that has been asked before and is currently asked in the annual American Community Survey. So we know the item itself is okay. Whether just sticking it into the survey has some other ramifications. So the courts will make that decision, but yeah, the Census Bureau certainly has the authority to modify the census instrument however it sees fit.
And when would Congress be voting on this?
And Congress isn't really going to have any sort of, this is...
They just submitted
They have given the authority to the Census Bureau to design this instrument as they see fit. And what's most likely going to happen, regardless of whether this item gets included, you're going to have, and they've sort of already seen this with some of the focus groups they've been doing with people, that in the Hispanic community, there's a lot of hesitancy to take any sort of census right now, whether there's a citizenship question or not. So the government's just going to end up spending a lot more money on having to do the census.
Keith, put your Democratic hat on, because as Rod points out, this question has come and gone from the census before, but it has never caused the kind of uproar that it is now.
Well, actually, that's not exactly true.
Okay.
As you may know, I wrote a book about the development of immigration policy over a long period of time. Many of the questions in the survey over the decades have been there for political purposes, to divide and to exclude. And a lot of them have been contentious over those years. So it's not like from 1790 to recent years that this was an uncontroversial thing. It's been controversial off and on. In the 1910 census, the Census Bureau went to amazing lengths to get data on Jewish immigrants and other Eastern European immigrants, because they wanted to show that they were excludable people that should not be allowed to be here. So there's a long history of this kind of thing being abused.
Rod, I want to give you the last word here.
Well, I don't know. That last part was news to me. I had no idea that under the Obama administration there was an idea of excluding Jewish people from Eastern Europe. I mean, is that not what you just said, Keith?
No, it is not what I said. I said 1910, the census.
1910. I'm so sorry. I heard the wrong one. So what you're saying is the census has been used to exclude certain types of people or to try to exclude certain types of people. I think that what we want to do here and what is reasonable for me, and I'm not going to try and get inside Trump's mind, but what we want to do here is just get an accurate count of who's here and who they are.
All right, we have to leave it right there. I'm sorry, gentlemen, I wish we had more time, but before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show on the scales of justice. A road rage video went viral last month. A car seen ramming a motorcyclist off the road. It was soon found that the driver of the vehicle is allegedly an illegal alien. Sheriff Knight is calling for the suspect to be deported. We went to Facebook for your thoughts, and Juan says if this guy was driving a car without a driver's license and then trying to kill someone, this is a reason to not keep him here. He's very lucky that the biker is alive. But Catherine says in the road rage incident, what he did was awful, but the motorcycle rider is also at fault. He also has a history of traffic violations. And Joe says deport the motorcycle rider for being an idiot and riding like a maniac. 3 comments, 3 different opinions. Wow. If you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, former State Representative Keith Fitzgerald, and Danny Fierstman, a political science professor at State College. The more you come, the more we'll get your name right. When we return, USF Sarasota Manatee economics instructor Michael Snipes will join us to discuss the gross national product and how it's calculated. So you better stay with us.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard serve to give back to their country and communities. Their part-time commitment qualifies them for an array of benefits, such as affordable health and life insurance benefits, education benefits, including tuition assistance, student loan repayment and GI Bill programs, a retirement plan based on part-time service, and VA home mortgages. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about all the benefits available in the Army National Guard.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Welcome back. We often hear President Trump boast about how well the economy is doing because of him. Then you hear critics say, wait a minute, our gross national product tells the tale. Here to tell us how it works is Michael Snipes, an economics instructor at USF Sarasota Manatee. It's always interesting, Michael.
Yes. Well, actually, I'm going to talk about something similar called gross domestic product. And there is a little bit of a difference between GDP and GNP. But when you think of gross domestic product, you should be thinking of the value of production, right? So we want to measure the value of everything that gets produced in an economy. And so when you hear the word value, what should you be thinking? You should be thinking price times quantity. So I've got an example here to show a little bit about how GDP gets calculated. So let's say that we have a country called Canada. And
I've heard of that.
Oh, very famous for their waffles. And let's say that their economy is based on the production of hockey pucks, go Bolts, right? So let's take a look at their economy. So let's say that in the first year, hockey pucks are selling for $5 and they produce 20 hockey pucks. And so if we're thinking about value, then the value of all production in that economy is $100, right? 20 hockey pucks at $5 a piece. But this can lead to some kind of weird things sometimes when we're measuring GDP. So let's follow our economy over time. So let's say in year 2, let's say that we produce more hockey pucks. So we produce 25 hockey pucks at $5 a piece, our GDP goes up. And so our GDP is higher, we're better off, and we're better off because we're producing more. But let's look at another year. Let's look at year 3. And let's say that in year 3, what changes is prices go up. So our quantity is still the same, our production is still the same, but we're having to pay more for our output. So in this case, would we necessarily say that we're better off? Well, if we look at just GDP, our GDP is higher. But our GDP is higher because we had inflation. It's not necessarily the case that we're better off in terms of how much we can produce or consume. GDP went up really only because of prices. So when we think about GDP and how GDP is measured and what it's actually telling us, we need to keep in mind that there's 2 ways that we can get GDP growth. It can be through increases in production, which is kind of ideally what we would like, right? More production, more consumption, that's good for us as consumers. But we can also get it through inflation. We can get it through increases in price. From a consumer standpoint, well, we're getting the same, but we're paying more for it. Well, maybe from a production side that might be good, but from a consumer's perspective, not as good.
Okay, next week we'll do gross national product.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, thanks a lot, Michael. Michael Snipes joins us every Thursday to discuss the world of economics. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather. Plus, what did the White House have to say about Rudy Giuliani's statement about the $130 payment from Michael Cohen to Stormy Daniels? Stay with us.
I can't believe they charged me this much. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Go to CashNetUSA.com now. If approved, you may get the money you need as soon as tomorrow.
Thanks. Who are you?
I'm CashNetUSA.com. Man.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
Hey kids, come learn baseball from the pros. The Bradenton Marauders are hosting Baseball Camp on June 5th, 6th, and 7th at Lecom Park. Boys and girls ages 6 to 14 will learn the fundamentals of hitting, pitching, and fielding from Marauders coaches and players at Lecom Park. Your camp fee includes a t-shirt, lunch daily, and 1 ticket to the Marauders games on these nights. To sign up, go to BradentonMarauders.com by May 14th. Sponsored by ABC7, your Suncoast News.
We are problem solvers striving for answers. Relevancy on every platform. We are driven to create content that's compelling, engaging, where it matters. We are neighbors that care about solutions, believers in making a difference, leaders, innovating in an exciting era of multimedia, reaching to always be the gold standard in our evolving landscape. We are Raycom Media. Find your opportunity today.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Alan, I tell you, we are looking at spectacular weather as of late. I know You need some rain for your lawn. You may get it over the weekend. We are looking for some showers to move on in, but tonight, some high, thin cirrus clouds creating a little bit of a haze, but should still be a gorgeous sunset tonight. And we had a bit breezy conditions last night. We can still see that easterly fetch move on in, which will cause winds up to 15 miles an hour, it looks like, through the evening. Very high fire danger exists for Manatee County and also into Highlands County. This is a big problem, especially on Friday, as the humidity will stay relatively low. And with the wind moving out of the east and southeast at 10 to 15, we could see fires spread rather rapidly. If they do indeed spread, we saw a fire earlier today in the extreme category in Charlotte County into Punta Gorda. That was under control very quickly, though. Manatee County in the very high range there. Well, we have some tropical moisture moving on in. That's the big story for us. It's going to put a little damper on our weekend weather, but it shouldn't be a rain out by any stretch. This area of low pressure is moving off to the west and northwest and should be on the doorstep of South Florida, looks like, on Saturday morning, wrapping some moisture around in our area come late Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. Fair weather cumulus clouds around, that's been about it, and we are looking at sustained winds right now out of the northeast, anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour, and they'll continue, I think, throughout the evening. It should be a pleasant evening, though, with the temperatures still above average, but cooling down as far as the humidity goes. It should be nice. Radar picture depicting some rainfall already starting to move in advance of that tropical moisture into South Florida, into the Keys, and scattered, not a lot. Marco Island had a brief shower earlier. Currently, we have mostly fair skies, 86 degrees, and the humidity very low. The barometer still on the rise at 3012, and our high today, 91 degrees, just 4 degrees shy of the record. Yesterday was 90. Tomorrow will be right around 92, and I should say 90 as well. We're looking at temperatures a bit warmer to start things off. Mid to upper 60s will warm up into the mid 80s by noon, and then some areas, especially east of I-75, getting to that 90-degree mark. Well, over the northeast, a lot of rainfall in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and then severe weather possibilities exist across parts of the plains and mid-Mississippi Valley. Here's the forecast then showing that moisture working its way off toward the northwest and then arriving on our doorstep on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Then the front comes down, kind of merges with this low pressure and moisture and gives us a chance for showers on into Sunday as well. Well, as far as temperatures go, we have got quite a bit of warm weather over the northeast, and looks like that's going to continue. We'll get to that again at 11 o'clock tonight. So nice tomorrow, showers and storms developing, 50% chance afternoon and evening. There's about a 30% chance that some of those may be thunderstorms. And then we'll see some scattered shower activity even through Saturday night and Sunday morning. Rain chance again at 50% on Sunday. Less of a chance come Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But it's still there. And boy, we could use a little bit of rainfall. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
Hi, I'm Holly Robinson Pete.
And I'm Rodney Pete. And after 16 years in the NFL, it came as no surprise that knee surgery might be in my future.
And when the doctor said Rodney needed to lose weight before surgery, we knew that Lipozene could help him lose 4 times more weight. It's America's #1 weight loss supplement.
I've already lost 30 pounds and 4 pant sizes. I didn't need a prescription or meal plan.
I've lost 10 pounds, I have more energy, more stamina.
We eat our favorite foods and still lose 4 times more weight.
I'm very impressed with Rodney's weight loss. His blood pressure and cholesterol have really improved. I recommend Lipozene because it's made from the rare konjac root, which contains glucomannan, a very safe and effective weight loss supplement.
Lipozene has no harmful side effects. No caffeine, no jitters, no counting calories.
No cleanses.
No starve diets.
No boot camps.
Nothing in your lifestyle needs to change. Just add Lipozene.
In a clinical study, people were not asked to change their lifestyle and simply add Lipozene. As a result, they lost not just twice the weight, not 3 times, but they lost 4 times more weight just by adding Lipozene. And 78% of that weight loss was fat, not water, but fat.
Rodney and I guarantee that you will lose weight or your money back.
Can we say that?
Yep, guaranteed, or your money back. So get Lipozene and lose 4 times more weight.
Now you can lose 4 times more weight. Just add Lipozene for only $29.95. Call right now and we'll double your order for free and ship it free too. And for a limited time, we'll double the size of each bottle for free. So now you have 4 times the Lipozene for just $29.95. Plus, you'll get Metabo Up Plus to help boost your energy and metabolism. But you must call. Call 800-379-2824, 800-379-2824, 800-379-2824.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Checking primetime headlines, President Trump's new lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, making this stunning admission. The president paid back the $130,000 his lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen paid to buy the silence of porn actress Stormy Daniels. ABC's Tara Palmieri has more from Washington.
One of the president's lawyers drawing a direct line between Donald Trump and the $130,000 payment made to a porn star before the election. Rudy Giuliani, recently hired as Trump's lawyer, telling Fox News that the president personally paid back his lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen for arranging the hush agreement with Stormy Daniels.
That was money that was paid by his lawyer, the way I would do out of his law firm funds or whatever funds, doesn't matter. The president reimbursed that over a period of several months.
A stunning admission on a payment that the president had previously denied knowledge of. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said that Trump did not know about the payments at the time, even though he had been paying Cohen monthly.
This wasn't something that was initially known, but later learned. And again, we give the best information possible at the time.
Cohen said that he used a home equity loan to pay Daniels to sign a non-disclosure agreement about her alleged affair with Trump in 2006. Legal experts have questioned whether the payment was an illegal in-kind contribution to the campaign. Cohen said the payment had no connection to the campaign. Giuliani seeming to suggest the Trump campaign might have suffered if the alleged affair had become public.
Imagine if that came out on October 15th, 2016, in the middle of the last debate with Hillary Clinton.
Even hinting that there may be other cases, telling the Washington Post, quote, "There were a few other situations during the campaign." Trump acknowledging that these kind of non-disclosure agreement deals are common practices for people like him, tweeting, "These agreements are very common among celebrities and people of wealth." Sarah Sanders has long denied that the president had any knowledge of Cohen's payments and said that she learned last night from Giuliani on Fox News that he had actually reimbursed Cohen. Tara Palmieri, ABC News, Washington.
If you have Twitter, you might want to change your password. Twitter is asking its users, all 330 million of them worldwide, to change their passwords. The social media giant says it recently discovered a bug that saved user passwords on an internal log without proper encryption. Twitter says the issue has been fixed, and there's no evidence that the passwords were leaked or misused. And that's all the time we have. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.